Assalamualaikum and a very good day. Thanks for tuning in. I guess you are here to find out a little bit more about the HRDCorp Train the Trainer program. My name is Ahmad Fauzan Osman. I'm one of the lead trainers for HRDCorp Train the Trainer Certification Program by Access Ideas Malaysia. And in this video, I'd like to share with you a little bit of a preview perhaps in terms of what is embedded in the program which we call the HRDCorp Train the Trainer Certification Course. So let's dive in. Okay, without further ado, let's take a look at the key highlights of the HRDCorp Train the Trainer Certification Program by Access Ideas Malaysia. Generally speaking, the training market in Malaysia consists of some primary group of audience. So they are including schools, higher learning institutions, the public sector, the private sector, entrepreneurs, and individuals. So depending on what is your topic and subject matter or focus area, you may be targeting a specific target market, training market in Malaysia. Generally speaking, the schools and higher learning institutions consist of students mainly that would fall under the category of pedagogy or child learning training delivery method. Of course, you can also conduct training for the school teachers, the lecturers. I would categorize that together with the other sectors or the other areas, which is the adult learning or andragogy group. Okay, now this is the first main difference in terms of how you may want to deliver your training, because the approach towards training or teaching children is definitely different in theory with adult learning. So with that, training, when we talk about training under the scope of HRDCorp, we are talking about training of employees from employers who contribute to the HRDCorp training fund. So there is an act that makes employers compulsory to contribute to the fund, and because of this fund, they are encouraged to train, because whenever they train, they will be able to claim back their training expenses from the fund. So one of the requirements of doing this is the trainer that conducts the training must be HRDCorp TTT certified or exempted. I won't cover on the exemption part. You may refer to their website for the requirements. If you qualify, you may want to take up the TTT exemption. But if you are here to find out about the course itself, now let's dig further. So training usually consists of, number one, identifying the training needs, developing the modules or content that makes up the training itself, strategic training delivery, because how you deliver the content to your audience would depend on who the audience is and how or what you would like to achieve at the end of the training. And of course, what makes training different, and specifically under the scope of HRDCorp, when we talk about employers utilizing the fund to train their employees, is to ensure that the employees or the participants of the training comes out of the training at least learning something, or some form of a change, whether it can be in terms of knowledge, skill, or behavior. And we want to check to ensure that the training is effective for that particular reason. Now, so training in terms of the basic fundamentals of training, or the baseline knowledge that a trainer needs to have, is the ability to identify training needs. From identifying the training needs, develop the right modules to fill in those training needs gaps. From the modules, to be able to think about how to strategically deliver to ensure the outcome. And then towards the end of the training, make sure there is a form of an assessment to check whether your participants have learned, or at least have gain the right knowledge, skills, or behavior as mentioned. And this you will need to use again to ensure that your identifying of the training needs was correct in the first place. Okay, so this in a nutshell is what training is all about. The HRDCorp Train the Trainer Certification Course has been developed by a committee that refers to a very tested and proven instructional design system, or basically what we call the ID model or the training cycle, to develop the modules of HRDCorp Train the Trainer Certification Course. Okay, so the modules are: the first module, plan adult learning; second module, conduct training needs analysis, design competency-based training program, deliver or conduct competency-based training program, and last but not least, assess participants' competence. And if you notice here, we all refer to one keyword, which is competency. And because we are training under the scope of HRDCorp, we are talking about training for employees, for employers who contribute to the fund. Definitely, we are talking about specific competencies. We do not touch on motivation. Although it can be included as part of the program, but mainly our focus is on the competencies, how employees can perform their tasks better. This may include topics from the soft skills area, which is leadership, communication, and so on and so forth. And then you can also look into specific technical skills. HRDCorp covers certain focus area. You may again refer to their website for more information on this. But basically, the baseline or the main idea of the course, the TTT course, is for us to have a baseline that does not discriminate topic, that does not discriminate your target market or audience. What I'm trying to say here is, by going through these 5 modules, you will be able to have at least the basic foundations of what a trainer needs to know. Now, moving on, the highlights of each modules that we at Access Ideas focus on. Number 1 is the andragogy and how we use the andragogy principles to be embedded in a training program. This includes the 4 areas as you can see on the slides, and this is where we discuss and we give examples, best practice of how typically a trainer in any topic can incorporate the andragogy training method or an andragogy approach to their participants, mainly working adults. Then we're going to discuss about how, as a trainer, can be ready for training needs analysis, what a trainer needs to do on their side so that they can help organizations to be able to perform a more accurate training needs analysis, at least in the area of their subject matter. So let's say, for example, I'm a soft skill trainer. At least I would be able to prepare and provide sufficient information to help organization to do the training needs analysis for that particular area. Okay, although we can go into TNA a little bit deeper, but that's a different course. Soon, inshallah, HRDCorp will have their HRDCorp training needs analysis program, and in that program we will look at how to implement TNA specifically on the implementation side. So in TTT, we're talking about the trainer's perspective, or what the trainer needs to do to prepare for a TNA. Next, in understanding the TNA, you will be able to realize that different levels in an organization would have different sets of requirements, or basically different needs when it comes to training. As you can see in the slides, the organization needs, the departmental needs, and also the individual needs. Now, a trainer needs to understand this and use this to help the trainer design programs that can fit into the needs of all 3 levels. So when we talk about training design, designing a competency-based training program, we are specifically looking at how a trainer can fulfill the needs of the organization. Okay, And all of this is because HRDCorp, we are talking about when we participate in the training industry under the scope or in the bubble of HRDCorp, we are talking about training working adults. Okay. Now, once we do that, we must also consider what is the right training approach. Of course, we will be discussing the do's and don'ts of a trainer in a training program. And like I said, incorporate key elements in the training session so that you will have all of the expected and desired activities, learning activities or strategies, approaches, methodologies to enable learning to take place, and to check whether learning or skill polishing has taken place. We will also need to evaluate the effectiveness of a training. We will be discussing about how a trainer could possibly shift from focusing too much on how well the audience receive the training, just looking at the level 1 reaction. We are moving towards ensuring learning occurs, so evaluating whether the training has helped learning to happen, and then possibly aiming for behavioral changes back in the workplace. What are the strategies that we can incorporate in the training to help organization check back whether the training was effective enough in behavioral changes? And also, of course, the right behavior changes will bring into the right results, and the right results could and should be able to, you could trace it back to return on investment or ROI. So basically, again, this particular area, inshallah, HRDCorp would have their EET, evaluation on the effectiveness of training, specifically in the future to dwell into this a little bit more. But for TTT, the idea is for the trainer to realize the importance of evaluating the training and having an assessment embedded in the training session to ensure the training has or is targeting to achieve the right outcome. Okay. So what we do in Access Ideas when we approach the train the trainer certification course is that on our side, we want you to experience the concept and theories, not just going through page by page, or not just recognizing who said what, all the concept and theories. We want you to really experience it through the training itself. We want you to be able to practice the techniques and not just look at it as should do, and this is the best approach without looking at the practicality of it. Okay. And then last but not least, I always say that myself, I always have room for improvement. And in adult learning environment, you're talking about not just only learning from the trainer, the lead trainer. Sometimes me as the lead trainer, I also get to learn a lot from the participants. And because of that, all of us must have this general understanding or mindset that we all need to improve. And because of that, we are here in the 5 days of TTT to also keep an eye out on what are the areas that we could improve or implement in our future training. Now, how do we do that? The trainer schedule is basically fixed, 5 days, although some companies may opt for split, meaning that you could have 3 days and then another 2 days. That is not the issue. And how the trainer allocates time for each module, I think that is basically dependent on the trainer and the audience itself, the response of the audience. But on Access Ideas, what we do differently is because the goal is to allow participants to have a good chance of passing the assessment. So what we do is we ensure that there is a dry run the day before. So after going through the concept, theories, impart knowledge and whatnot, then we'll give you a little bit of time to prepare, and then we'll conduct a dry run. Because of this, we at Access Ideas Malaysia, we tend to limit the number of participants in our TTT session. We won't take too many, because we want you to have ample time to practice and get proper feedback from the lead trainers. And basically, because everybody gets 15 minutes to do their final assessment, a mock training, if you times 15 by the number of participants and add a little bit of buffer, transition time, 5 minutes between one trainer to another, setting up and whatnot, I believe you will be able to guess what would be the maximum number of packs to enable the dry run to happen and everybody to complete their 15 minutes assessment on the final day. Okay, so that's what we do differently to ensure the aim, the goals that we have set for our HRDCorp Train the Trainer Certification Course. Okay, now key highlights are the know-hows and techniques. Number one, what we put on the table for you guys is how to manage a difficult audience, how to recognize them, and possibly consider the appropriate way utilizing adult learning or adult teaching methods to maybe avoid and also manage them a little bit better. We would help you to be able to profile your participants, specifically to help them to learn a little bit better and to ensure that the delivery of the training is more effective to the audience that's in front of you, the trainer. Some techniques on how to brainstorm or ideate, generate ideas to fill up your training content with purposeful and appropriate contents. Okay, planning for a training session, how to make sure that your process, your thought process, your flow is smooth and transition naturally from one point to another. And last but not least, remember I said that we limit the number of packs so that to allow time. We would definitely be giving personal feedbacks for areas of improvement on the dry run and also on the final day to help you kick off your journey as a trainer in Malaysia with the right mindset and the right skill sets. Okay, again, like I mentioned, this is a baseline. Anybody who wants to become a trainer, a subject matter expert, even though without any vast amount of experience teaching or training, by going through these 5 days, inshallah, you will be able to have the baseline competencies required for a trainer to participate in the HRDCorp training market. Okay, so basically that's mainly what the Train the Trainer course encompasses. And also not to forget that since the pandemic, we now have options on whether you can participate in a TTT program, whether it's a physical face-to-face classroom, or you may opt to go for the remote online. Remote meaning that participants in the same company could possibly be in the company and the trainer could be elsewhere, or public program where everybody is in front of their laptops and participating online. So there's that option right now. So that's it. Basically, a snapshot of HRDCorp Train the Trainer Certification Course by Access Ideas Malaysia. So if you choose to participate and if you choose to join, please let us know. We will provide you with a link to a little bit more details to download the brochures and whatnot. Hopefully, this video has helped you make a solid decision and addresses any issues that you have. If you have any comments, questions, by all means, you could put in the comment section below, and our admin will pick it up and respond to you accordingly. All right, that's it. That's my sharing for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope to see you in class soon. Take care, stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.